Tarama Industries Sheltered Workshop provides useful employment for 50 intellectually handicapped people from 16 to 60 years. Today saw the official opening of the extensions costing approximately $114,000 by Mr Alan Cadman, federal member for Mitchell. During his speech, Mr Cadman announced that the federal government had increased the weekly income handicapped people could earn from $20 to $30 without jeopardising their pension entitlements. With a new working area and better facilities, Tarama hopes to attract further local business in the Central Coast area and eventually further afield. Businesses are being encouraged to give all types of jobs to the workshop, and judging by the amount of work they already have, there is obviously strong local confidence in Tarama. The accident happened on the Strait stretch of road along Brunswick Street, East Maitland. A late model Datsun sedan left the road and collided with a pole, trapping the only occupant, the driver, for almost half an hour. Police and ambulance rescue squads were both called to the scene, where they managed to free the driver, a young woman of 20 who comes from the East Maitland area. She was then transported to the Royal Newcastle Hospital by the Westpac helicopter, where she remains in a critical condition with severe head injuries and multiple fractures. Police have not yet released her name until relatives have been informed. Down to Lake Macquarie is the third in a series of books by Newcastle University's Dr John Turner and illustrated by Jack Sullivan. It graphically recounts the early days of Newcastle and the Lake area and provides some amusing moments in the area's history. The author John Turner spoke about his latest book and the theme behind it.
What we're doing in this book is to follow a geographical theme from Newcastle right down to Toronto, even to Swansea. So it's down to the lake to the south.
How many photos have you included in it?
There's over 100 photos and a good many anecdotes and stories and things, all relating to the history of Newcastle in the late 19th century.
Can you perhaps tell us some of the anecdotes you've learnt whilst researching this book?
Yes, we've struck some really amazing ones, as you'd imagine. One of the ones I particularly like is the photo of the skinny dippers at Newcastle Bogey Hole swimming in the 1890s. And then there's the lovely one about the person who found Dr Livingstone in Central Africa, visiting Newcastle in 1891 and giving a public lecture and saying the very words, Dr Livingstone, I presume.
The special swimming program conducted throughout schools for thousands of children each year is one area abandoned because of the freeze on funding for casual staff. The decision is also having an effect on sports carnivals. A spokesman from last night's meeting, Mr Ian Gorton, said Mr Mulock will be informed of the area's strong support for the reinstatement of relief teachers. But will their pleas be answered?
Well, so far he has made two reverse decisions within the last week. Special swimming and school sport were both cut. A complete freeze on casual relief. Within the last week he has now allowed special swimming to continue until the end of the year, and now he's allowed a limited number of relief days available so that the school sporting programs might be able to be completed by the end of this year. So we're hopeful when he looks at the facts and figures and when he does a proper survey of the overall areas of casual relief within the state of New South Wales, he just might come up with some ideas that will be helpful to teachers who are interested in sport in schools.
Thank you. Fire swept through a section of the Curry Primary School last night. The alarm was raised at 7:30 when smoke began pouring out of the classrooms. It didn't take long for the flames to engulf the weatherboard building. The blaze raged through the ceiling, causing structural damage, which may mean a massive repair job. However, firemen were quick to save an adjoining assembly hall. 4 classrooms were burnt out. Lost were books and items belonging to Year 6 students who have just started their final year assessment.
The loss is tremendous. This school was so beautiful. The carpet under your feet ruined. There's $80,000 worth of carpet in this school. It's truly dreadful.
Police located what appeared to be the source of the fire, a burnt-out electrical switch. Today, Year 6 classes will be disrupted while the big clean-up gets underway. Meanwhile, there was another fire in Smith Street, Mayfield last night. A car parked in a driveway burst into flames. Residents say they heard a large explosion. 2 adjoining homes were damaged when flames spread to the outside walls. However, no one was injured.
I don't really know. I thought in the last year I played okay. I played third for Peter Rubin in that last one. I thought I played all right, but it may have done. Bob King wasn't selected for a while, and he certainly was one of the first to turn, as they call it, turn from the lily whites. But I don't know. I've never heard anything about it, so maybe just one of those things. Maybe there's lots of better bowlers around at the time.
Well, of course, Newcastle District are really going to have a boost with this interstate series being played at Charlestown.
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, Newcastle bowlers follow the sport. I've played in lots of places around Australia, and the 2 best followings I've ever seen is West Australia and here, and probably Newcastle is the best following I've ever seen in bowls in Australia.
Well, very quickly, this Test series, can we win it? New South Wales win it?
Oh yeah, we're playing on Coots Greens here, and Queenslanders now are hot and strong on Tiftorf, such as the Commonwealth Games green were, and they're different. And when we go to Queensland and play Tifs are hard for us to play on, and down here, the Coots is a little different to what they used to have. I think it favours us a little.
Top ball, mate.
Extensions to the 9-year-old hospital were begun 18 months ago. The result of the project is almost a new hospital. Previously, Lingard catered only for psychiatric and medical patients. Now it also has facilities for surgery. Lingard has 3 operating theatres. One of those is equipped with a laminar flow system, a modern air filter that reduces the risk of infection during surgery. Staff at the hospital are proud of the extensions. The Assistant Administrator, Mr. Terry Fulton, says Lingard is not only the biggest, but also the best private hospital in the Newcastle region.
It's the range of services that we offer and the facilities that we provide to our patients. We deliver high quality patient care in very pleasant surroundings.
And do you offer any services that perhaps the other private hospitals in the Newcastle region don't offer?
Yes, in fact we do. We offer services in pathology, we offer services in radiology and physiotherapy, and they are 3 areas which are not being provided by the private hospital sector in Newcastle at the moment.
Light, the symbol of Christian faith, made its way to the Redemptorist Monastery at Mayfield for the annual service in honour of Our Lady of Perpetual Help. The procession, an annual inspiration to thousands of members of the Catholic diocese from as far away as Taree, took on a special meaning this year. It marks the 250th anniversary of the foundation of the Redemptorist Order and the centenary of its presence in the Hunter region. Part of the service was read by Father John Burke, who is celebrating his own anniversary, 50 years in the priesthood.
We gather here in this holy ground
Been held
to pay tribute to one who has been a tower of strength to them and us in Maitland Diocese down the years. Our spiritual Mother Mary, Mother of Christ with the title of Our Lady of Perpetual Help.
The candlelight procession has been held in Mayfield now for more than 30 years, and each year, thousands take part in the tradition.
The fuselage of the aircraft, with one wing still attached, slammed to the ground in a park that's right behind the main street of Gloucester. The 4 people on board were killed instantly. Their names have not been released, but they're believed to be from Cessnock and Roman Terrace. Witnesses on the ground said they heard the aircraft circling the town for minutes before it fell out of low cloud in 2 peaks. One wing fell in the backyard of a house over a kilometre from the main part of the river. Accident investigation teams and police scientific squads are now at the scene of the crash.
"15-year-old Jesmond High student Karen Clifford has been told she's one of only about a dozen girls Australia-wide to be invited to take up a 3-year scholarship with the Australian Ballet School in Melbourne. Karen has been dancing for 6 years and in February will move to Melbourne to become one of the youngest ballerinas ever to be admitted to the Australian Ballet School. When Karen leaves Robin Turner's ballet classes and her family and friends here in Newcastle next year, it'll be all up to her. But she's confident.
Karen, you must be excited having been selected for the Australian Ballet School. Have you really got a good idea what it involves?
I think it's going to involve a lot of hard work and some very stiff competition which I'll have to work for.
Well, Karen, already you must have put in a lot of hard work and faced a lot of competition to get where you've got. Just what sort of work have you put in to get where you've got?
I put in 6 days a week and about 4 hours every day.
Karen, what's your ultimate ambition then?
To be a dancer.
In the past, the tourism in the Hunter Valley has been run through a number of associations who've been backed by the Department of Tourism. This is a new pilot scheme which has, I think, the support of the Department of Tourism, and the plan is going to the Minister very shortly. But in essence, there's going to be a new authority which will represent the whole region. It will also encourage the separate associations to work on their own, but this new authority will control the finance that comes through from the Department of Tourism, and I think that it will be a very great improvement on what we've seen in the past.
Mr Barnes, why this reorganisation of tourism promotion in the Hunter? What can the new authority do that perhaps the old association couldn't?
It's a much better vehicle for promoting tourism. I think we've got to remember that the Hunter is in a much better position than most regions in New South Wales to take advantage of tourism. Tourism is a major money spender, it's a major employer. In fact, for every $24,000 a new full-time job is created.
Hey Steve, good going, mate.
tragic accident happened shortly before 8 last night. Police believe that one of the vehicles failed to stop at a giveaway sign on GC Frith Drive and drove in front of an oncoming vehicle heading south along Main Road. For the 8 occupants in one of the vehicles, there was little chance of escape. Paramedics, police and ambulance rescue squads tried desperately to free those trapped in the carnage. Those killed in the accident were Graham Fomsby, aged 40 from Cessnock, his daughter Rhonda, 12, David Mark Bamber, 24 of Windale, and Ian Paul Howells, 20 of Mayfield. Mr Fomby's wife Robin and 3 of his children remain in Wallsend Hospital, while 17-year-old Leanne Fomsby is in a serious condition in the Mater Hospital. Police are still investigating the accident. In another accident near the same spot only 4 hours later, a motorcyclist and his pillion passenger died after their bike ran into a power pole outside the Sulphide Workers Club. Those killed were New Zealanders David William Rabbit, aged 27, and Irene Lynn Mothersole, 23, who were living at Glendale. Neither was wearing a crash helmet. And whilst the number of fatalities in the Hunter region continues to rise, one group of concerned Morisset residents are determined to do their share to halt the number of deaths on our roads. Members of the local Rotary group spent today planting 32 white crosses to mark the spots where fatal accidents have occurred in their area over the past 2.5 years. Concerned resident Dr Warwick Raymond believes these will serve as a reminder to others on the roads.
Nice to see it adopted Australia-wide. As a matter of course, it might make people more aware of the dangers on the roads. But here, we are most concerned with the condition of the roads, their design and construction, which are really 19th century, not 20th century.
Is it now an ongoing plan? For every fatality that occurs in the area, you'll now plant a white cross?
I believe this will be an ongoing plan. One thing I would like to point out, that here we have the busiest roads in Australia with the worst fatalities in Australia and with a death toll on a population basis worse than the Vietnam War.
The new process was developed by Sydney greenkeeper Warwick Morris. He was determined that there must be an easier and more economical way of renovating greens, other than by the standard coring and scarifying. Morris believed that he could develop a machine that was capable of burning off the top layer of lawn, thus regenerating growth, the same principle behind bushfires. The new machine was finally developed in 1980 and has been successfully used throughout Sydney and in some country areas. However, the Warners Bay Bowling Club is the first in Newcastle to try the new method. Members hope the green will be ready for play in just 5 weeks, 2 weeks earlier than with the old method. And if all goes as planned, Mr Morris hopes to further develop the idea to cover other sporting areas, including tennis courts and cricket pitches.
Since the 1800s, all locomotives have carried a driver, an observer and a guard. Now, as part of an $80 million cost-saving scheme, the State Rail Authority wants to dispense with observers. Under the new scheme, the observer's duties would be carried out by the guard. 350 locomotive engineers at Broadmeadow and Port Waratah are expected to be affected by the cutbacks. The State Rail Authority has said that nobody will be sacked, but union leaders say that can't be guaranteed. Today's Newcastle meeting voted unanimously to take action against the proposed cutbacks. It is likely that union members will not operate diesel trains unless there is a 3-man crew aboard. State Secretary of the AFULE, Mr Bernie Willingale, says economies should be made in other areas of the SRA.
There's certainly a need to economise, but we can think of plenty of other areas where that could be done before they attack the locomotive crew.
I wonder if you could specify some of those areas for us.
Well, they've just doubled by 100% the administrative staff over the locomotives branch, and yet they're now proposing to halve the number of locomotive enginemen in that branch. So now that just doesn't add up. Furthermore, there are jobs being advertised everywhere throughout the State Rail Authority in administrative positions in the 8 or 9 buildings they've got around Sydney. At the same time, they're cutting out all the Indians. It's the old story again, too many chiefs and not enough Indians.